Hi, this is Monica Duarte, and I'm a brand identity alchemist and spiritual coach. And I hope you're having an awesome day. It's been many years since I've made a video here or like any social media platform. Mainly because I've been going through a lot of stuff in my life and just kind of been working on myself. But lately, I've just been getting a lot of insights where literally like I'll just be sitting or just working on something or listening to music, and I literally get like, it feels like a thunderbolt. Like I receive information, and it's so profound that I'm like, okay, why? I mean, I'm glad I'm being shown this, but like, what do I do with this? Like, I know I can apply it in my life, but if it can help somebody, then I'm happy to share that. So that's why I'm probably going to start making kind of spontaneous videos, when I feel guided to about insights that I receive. I'll post them. I don't know if I'm going to post them all on all the social media platforms I'm in. Most likely we'll be doing it on here on Facebook. But I'm not sure about YouTube. So just make sure you add me in all of the places, because I really I'm just kind of in a space where I'm just kind of allowing myself to be open and be more spontaneous and just kind of do what feels right for me at that moment. So basically what I wanted to share, and what I'm sharing is just literally my experience. It doesn't mean that it's the truth for everybody. It's literally what I've been going through. And if it resonates with you, great. If you can use the insights that I received to help you in your life, great. But it's definitely, I don't want to be one of those people that says this is that, they say that this is the ultimate truth, because one of the things that I've learned in my life is that truth is relative to the person and their life and their experiences. So I definitely want to put that out there, that I'm just sharing based on my experiences and just the guidance that I receive. So one of the things that I've come to understand is how incredibly sensitive I am to people's energies. And I don't know how to emphasize it, how incredibly strong that is. And it's becoming even stronger as I'm getting older. When I was little, I've always been like this. When I was little, I was definitely very sensitive to the energies around me. I remember even when I was 2 or 3 years old, and I would go into a room and I could tell the people that were honest and the people that were fake. The people that were lying or being deceitful. I could feel, I didn't even have to talk to them. I just felt it. But what happened is, and I'm grateful to my parents, but I wasn't necessarily raised in the most healthiest environment. And so somebody who's that sensitive, what happened for me is that I kind of shut down. I closed that part of myself because it just didn't feel safe for me to be that sensitive or that open in that kind of environment. And so what that did is I shut down for many years, all the way up to my 20s, I believe. And I was depressed all the time. Generally, almost every day I was dealing with depression or sadness or whatever, because I really just didn't feel comfortable or safe to just really be myself or, share this part of myself that was so important. So part of, if you've kind of been watching me throughout the years, you know that I went through a near-death experience a few years ago, and that experience was really what pushed me to open up again. So I've been working, I don't know how many years it's been. That happened in 2010. So I've been working since then to really open myself up again, to just get to know myself, to work on who I am, to feel really solid and open up to what I call the gifts that God gave me, to be able to just honor those and share them with people, and use them as a vehicle, for self-expression and empowerment in my life. So that I kind of basically opened up after that. And what I've been noticing, though, is that and this is, I think, something that a lot of empaths deal with, people that are super sensitive, to energies, or just people that are really empathic, is that we can sense people's feelings. People don't really have to tell us what they're feeling or sometimes even thinking. We can sense that. We know when something's not right. And what I realized though is that I've been taking that on way too much, like literally like because one of the things about me is that I really care about people. Like if I care about a person, if I just made the choice or the decision that I connect with somebody and that I really like them and that I care about them, like it's like a profound caring. It's not like a superficial thing. And that's one of the things about me is that, I'm always looking for genuine connections and like deep connections. Like I don't really care to do like, superficial, like, boring, just those kind of connections are not really me. And because of that, like I don't necessarily have a lot of friends, but that's okay because I'm not looking for a lot of friends. What I'm looking for is more for like genuine connections that last a lot, your whole life. Where you can grow and help each other and just be there for each other. And to me, that's something that's really important in my life, especially now moving forward in my life. So what was I going with this? Yeah. So what happens is that because I'm like that, like I care a lot about people. And when I'm not like, there's been like this like balance of like caring for others and also making sure that I take care of myself. And this is something that I've struggled with for many years. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. I'm human. And that's something that I'm always constantly working to balance. And what I realized is I recently had an experience where I was in an environment where a person was incredibly, incredibly toxic to the point that I needed to get away from them. Like it literally felt like, to me internally, it felt like a life or death type thing where like I need to get away from this person because their feelings, like their energy is so like just over the top and just like overwhelming that I couldn't even feel myself. I couldn't, like, I needed space. I needed to get away from that environment. And like, even when I got home, like I still could feel that person in my space. Like I could feel them thinking about me. I could feel, just the negative stuff. Like, so it really threw me off for like literally the rest of the day. And, one of the things that I've been working is to learn how to balance that, like how to not take that on. And that experience really helped me to like understand how incredibly sensitive I am to people's energies. And how I've kind of fallen in this trap of like, because I really care about people, I take on their feelings, I take on like their baggage sometimes. And I really don't want to do that anymore. Like I realize how unhealthy it is and how being like that actually kind of attracts unhealthy people to you because sometimes people that are not necessarily the healthiest can sense that. And they'll, they'll latch onto you and they'll just they'll take your energy, your time. So going through that experience really helped me to understand like how sensitive I've been to the point where I didn't even realize I was doing that, and understanding like, wait a minute, like I really value my time. I value the time that I give to people is really important to me. I value the energy that I give to somebody. I'm a pretty respectful person, unless you really push me to the point where like I've had it like, then I do kind of like the door slam type thing where like, it's like, sorry, we're done. But generally like I'm a really polite, like respectful person. Like I care about people. But just realizing like not everybody is like that. Like there's a lot of people out there that are not necessarily the healthiest, and understanding that only because you care profoundly about people or something, it doesn't mean you have to take on their baggage. And just becoming aware that that's what I've been doing, and that's why I've in the past I've attracted people that were not necessarily the healthiest for me, and taken on their stuff because I wanted to be helpful, I wanted to be caring, but then in the process like I wasn't helpful or caring to me, right? So that's kind of where the balance is, where like that experience helped me to understand that I needed to take care of myself. And when there's people that are so intensely toxic and just not healthy, like learning how to cut that off, like literally set really strong boundaries, whether it's physically, like literally telling the person like, hey, I don't appreciate you talking to me that way, or energetically. And in this case for me, it was more energetic, where I felt this person, like just their intensity all over me, and it was just overwhelming. So what I learned from that is really understanding, like, of being mindful of my energy and how much energy I give to people, like how much time and energy I give to people. And yeah, I care about people a lot. I care, in general, I care about humanity and like animals and like the earth. But only because I care doesn't mean I have to sacrifice myself. You know what I mean? Like, I have to make sure that I take care of myself and my space and my energy. So what I've started to do is when I interact with people that are not, that I feel are not necessarily the healthiest, and they might not even be aware of it. Like, it might be like one of those things where like that's the way they've been their whole life, and they're just used to it, and they're just used to complaining and to like being aggressive and intense, and I think that's normal. But it's not normal to be like that. Like, it's not normal nor healthy to be like that all the time. Like, there's a time and place for that, definitely. Like, if you're working like in an intense, work environment, like, well, even then for me, like, that's still not healthy. But people are different. Like, not everybody's like me, and I'm definitely not like everybody else. So but just understanding, like, being more observant of my energy and when I'm giving my energy to people or to situations that are not healthy for me, that don't really help me, they're not respectful to me. So what I started to do is literally catch myself where, like, if I'm around somebody and I notice that I'm feeling overwhelmed or just kind of like not really good, I kind of check in, and then I kind of like internally feel like, okay, is this me, or is this the person? And if I sense it's the person, then what I do is when they're being really intense and aggressive, I don't feed it. Like, I don't feed that energy. They express themselves, but it literally feels like a gray wall. Or like they might be talking, all these negative or intense things, but I'm not absorbing anything at all. Like, I'm just kind of like I completely, like, not emotionally, but it's almost like I put a wall up where I'm not absorbing that. And I don't comment on it. I don't say anything, like, because I learned that when you do that, you're not feeding that energy. So people eventually learn that you're not going to interact that way. Like, some people love drama and they love to feed that kind of stuff. And I don't really care for that. Like, my priority in my life is my sense of peace, feeling happy and, like, cared about. And that's really like that's me. So if somebody's not matching that, like, I know that it's not always going to be like that all the time. Like, we're definitely growing and we go through ups and downs. But if somebody's either intentionally or not intentionally being incredibly toxic, like, I have a right to say no, and I have a right to like just block that, So that's what I've been learning with that, is just like being super mindful of my energy, and then also realizing, like, I'm not for everybody and not everybody's for me. Like, one of the things that I learned too is, again, becoming super aware how incredibly sensitive I am to people's energies, and understanding not everybody operates from that level, and it's not a bad thing. Like, there's people that are super smart, like, they're very intellectual, and that feels comfortable for them. That's where, where they kind of reside most of their lives, and that's completely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But in this instance with me, like, I am not like that. Like, I'm smart, but I operate more from like this, like, energetic level. And that's where I feel comfortable. That's really who I am as a person. It makes sense why I really am into like spiritual stuff. And I also like creating, because that literally is where those, that's literally coming from this place of energy, if that makes sense. Like, it's coming from this place of intuition and like really coming from like a deep part of you. Like, for me, things that are deep or, spiritual are normal in my life. Like, that's not weird. And I know to some people that kind of stuff is real. Like, even the idea, like, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus. Like, I don't have a problem saying that because I feel comfortable with that. And the way that I relate to God and Jesus is really different from, some people. But other people don't even want to hear those words. Like, to them, that's not even in their awareness. Like, it's like a repulsive thing to even talk about that. And I completely respect that. Like, I'm not, trying to shove my opinions down anybody's throat, but, at the same time, it's like, this is comfortable for me. Like, synchronicities are normal for me. Things that are in the spiritual world in a really grounded level are completely normal for me. Like, I experience those things constantly. And just realizing, like, I'm not for everybody. So if somebody is being incredibly intense and aggressive and just, like, fake, especially fake, I don't have to have them in my life. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't have to be liked by everybody. Not that I'm looking for that, but it's definitely something that I know a lot of people struggle with, is the idea of being liked. But I've definitely come to a place in my life where I really don't care, because I've learned to work on myself and to like who I am as a person, and just really get to know myself as a human being and know where my strengths are, and realize that, like, I'm not like everybody else, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to share. I don't know how long this video is. It's kind of long. Oops. So I just wanted to share just kind of some of the insights that I gained based on what I just kind of experienced, just kind of basically sharing that if you're especially, sensitive to people's energies, if you're an empath, just being more mindful of, because one of the things that empaths complain about a lot is how people take advantage of us, and, we attract narcissists and this kind of stuff. And yeah, that does happen, because naturally narcissist people are going to be attracted to people that are empaths, because narcissistic people want attention, and empaths naturally give you that, right? However, I feel like there's a point that's being missed with people that are empaths or just sensitive, where they're not really understanding the capacity of how incredibly sensitive they are to people's energies, or just empathic, and learning how to channel that energy in a way that's more productive for them, and in order to create a happier life. Like, you don't have to. You can care about people. You can still care about people, but still have healthy boundaries, and still, like, sometimes caring means that you say no. Sometimes caring means that you take care of yourself, because true caring is empowerment, is not codependency, is not any of that stuff. It's literally empowerment. And so when you can let somebody know, like, hey, I don't appreciate you talking to me that way, or just being mindful again of your energy, of, what you're feeding, like how are you channeling your energy? Are you feeding it to something positive, something that's going to help you, something that's going to be empowering for yourself, in the people around you, but don't forget to include yourself in there? Or are you feeding it, like giving it to somebody who's toxic, who doesn't really care to grow, or like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not really doing anything to work on themselves or like really transform their lives. Then you have to really ask yourself, like, is this worth my happiness, and is it worth my joy and my peace? And if it's not, it's like being strong enough to walk away and know that it's okay. Like, you're not here for everybody, and the right people will see you and understand you, and take the time to get to know you. They're not going to be, treating you poorly. So just being aware of that, and just being aware that, again, you're not for everybody, and it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with being empathic. There's nothing wrong with being energetically sensitive. There's nothing wrong with, like, even being into spiritual stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just people are different, and people have different strengths. So some people, naturally have a strength to be spiritually minded, while other people are more technological minded, or book smart, and there's, like, I just think it's silly that people think that we all need to fit in the same, like, literally boat, or like in the same category. And that's not that's not how life works. Like, if you look at life even outside of us, like, even nature, like, everything looks different. Every animal has a purpose. Like, the cats are different from dogs, and different from, like, trees, like, so why do we need to put ourselves into this category? And then what ends up happening is that we don't feel good enough, because we're comparing ourselves to somebody else. So instead of comparing, channel that energy in a more efficient way to get to know yourself and your strengths and who you really are, and operate from that level instead of operating from outside of yourself and seeking validation, because that never works. Like, it never works. You will, and this is something that I will say is truth, and this is one of the few times that I will say this. If you keep seeking for something outside yourself, always, you will always keep hitting a wall. Because one of the most profound lessons that we have to learn as human beings and also spiritual beings is that whatever we seek ourselves is a projection of, whatever we seek outside ourselves is a projection of something that we feel we don't have inside of ourselves. So if you're seeking for love and it's like, coming from this place of like really being really needy, or like just not a healthy place, like, you seek that because inside yourself you don't feel loved, you don't feel lovable. And the trick is, or it's not really a trick, it's more like the truth is that you have to find out what's within inside yourself, because nobody's ever going to meet that for you. Like, nobody can ever do that, like, ever. That's just not the way it works. And so that's just the way life is, and it's like a spiritual concept, but it's not really, I don't really see it that way. It's literally the way that just life is, and just understanding to work with the laws of the universe, or, like, like, I don't know what to call it. It's not the universe, because I don't mean like universe, like physical universe, but I mean like more like the laws of existence. Like, learning those laws and working with those instead of like doing, hitting yourself against walls like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, so anyways, I kind of dragged on too long, but I just wanted to share something here. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment, or you can also send me an email. I'm a little bit busy right now with a lot of stuff, but I always respond back to my emails, whether it takes me a day or two or however long. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.